Welcome to Solve It Like a Marketer and to my playlist, Marketing Terms A to Z. Now, this week's letter is C for Cognitive Learning Theory in Consumer Behaviour. As always, please subscribe, hit that bell to be notified of new episodes every week, and, well, don't go away. So cognition refers to the mental process of absorbing and retaining knowledge, and it encompasses the ability to understand through thought, experience, and sense. Cognitive behavioral theory refers to the role of cognition in the behavioral pattern of individuals. Cognitive learning theory, CLT, is about understanding how the human mind works while people learn. And the theory focuses on how information is processed by the brain. So this perspective views people as problem solvers who actively use information from the world around them to master their environment. Now, this is in contrast to behavioral learning theories. Cognitive learning theory stresses the importance of internal mental processes rather than just responding to stimuli from a person's environment. Now, from a marketing standpoint, what's interesting about this approach is that it really emphasizes that we can learn about products by observing people's behavior, and we call this observational learning. So it occurs when people watch the actions of others. So people store these observations in memory as they accumulate knowledge, and possibly using this information later on to guide their own behaviors. Now, another aspect of this theory is when an individual imitates the behavior of others, and this is called modeling. So, for instance, person X is shopping, say, for a new pair of jeans. They remember that a couple of weeks before, a friend of theirs, we'll call them person Y, posted a picture on social media of themselves wearing freshly bought jeans. Now, on social media, they got lots of compliments on how they looked. So person X then goes out and buys the same type of jeans. So modeling is particularly common among young consumers who often observe the behavior of others, often individuals who they might look up to or admire, such as online influencers, and then imitate their behavior. And what's really fascinating is that when we talk about memory, observation, and how information is stored in our brains, it's really not stored in isolation. So it's incorporated into knowledge structures where it's associated with other related data, almost like building blocks. So marketers are constantly trying to play with these memory factors, trying to get you to recall brands at just the right time for you to make a choice in their favor, whether that's buying clothes, maybe tickets to a sporting event, or even voting for your favorite political party. So just to reiterate, because I think it is rather interesting, my last video was on behavioral learning theory. And in terms of marketing, this basically assumes that we don't do any thinking at all, right? So this is dealing with knee-jerk reactions or learned responses. So the most famous experiments being Pavlov's dog. So Dr. Pavlov, every time he rang a bell, the dog would salivate because he had managed to associate the ringing of the bell with being fed. So the dog thought, I'm getting fed, and would salivate. But marketers use this as well with jingles, for instance, right? So auditory or by smell, right? Sometimes if you hear a very familiar jingle for, I don't know, product like pizza or beer or anything, or Coca-Cola, then immediately subliminally it triggers something, hunger or thirst. There's not a lot of cognitive behavior. You're not really analyzing the situation, and therein lies the difference, right? So with cognitive, these are learned responses. Our brain is taking in information and it's filing it away. And sometimes the brain has been said to be almost like a set of filing cabinets, right? When you have a new piece of information, your brain tries to link it to previous information that you may have in your brain. And so it's got a certain filing cabinet, it's got a filing system. So for instance, I mentioned that person X, person Y. So for instance, person X seeing the social media post. Okay, there are a few things going on here, right? There is the recognition that they like or they admire person Y. There is the analysis. What kind of likes did they get? Did they get comments on their social feed about those new pair of jeans? You might think, that's a cool brand. What is the brand of the jeans? Would they fit me? There's a whole kit and caboodle of cognitive analysis going on, and your brain is filing all of this away. And then you learn and you go, okay, maybe I should, if I go out and buy those jeans as well, maybe I will become as popular. Maybe I will be able to post a picture on social media and get likes, right? So it's a learned response. Now, when I'm teaching consumer behavior, one area that I love to talk about is something called reference groups. And this, again, I think ties back to cognitive learning and also the purchase decision process. So what are reference groups? Well, there are quite a few, but there's 4 main reference groups that we talk about in consumer behavior. The first is your primary group. So your primary group as a reference are typically people that are very close to you. These could be really close friends, they could be roommates, they could be family. So these people have a huge influence on you as a person. You look to them to guide you. You look to them to bounce almost like your existence off of them and gain kind of a personal satisfaction from being around them. But in terms of marketing, also, you trust this group. So if somebody in the group goes and buys a computer, which is a big purchase, it's an expensive purchase, if you're looking for a computer, you're more likely to trust their perspective. What brand did they get? How much did they pay? What was the warranty, etc., right? Now, sometimes if you dig a little deeper, there are offshoots to this primary group. Like sometimes in consumer behavior, they talk about family specifically, right? And give that a group name. But for now, we'll just call it the primary group. Now, secondary group kind of makes sense. These are more people that you don't associate with as often. So they might be work colleagues that you don't really hang out with, but you see, So they're very much more on the acquaintance level. So again, this is kind of like a tier below. So in terms of your cognitive function, and in terms of marketing, this is still an important group, but it's not a surefire method. So if somebody walks into work with a new dress on or a new suit, you may evaluate, but you may not go out and buy because you're not strongly associated with this particular group of people. The third one, I love this one. I love the next two actually, is the aspirational group. So again, the word to aspire, right? To look up to want to be something. So the aspirational group, as the name suggests, is a group that you would like to be a part of. So this could be a social group. It could be more formal. It could be a club. It could be an organization. Any sort of collective entity that sort of collectively has its own identity, right? They stand for something. And this is a group you really want to be a part of. And because you want to be a part of that group, you might dress differently. You might talk differently. You might bring up different subjects. You might eat different kinds of foods. So this is an interesting group, again, in terms of cognition and your thought process, but also in terms of marketing, right? Think of all the applications. If you've got that aspirational group, this may affect the way your purchase decision process, because you want to be more like the people that are in that aspirational group. Interesting, right? And the final one is the dissociative group. Disassociation. So to disassociate yourself is to repel, to walk away from, right? So a dissociative group is one that you definitely do not want to be a part of. It's again, it's a collective group in whatever shape or form, but there's some kind of belief that they hold that you really don't like. Maybe it's a belief system. It could be anything, really, but there's just something that just doesn't jive with you. So this group is very popular in terms of the swing, in terms of the other way, right? So if you see people in that dissociative group, say it's a political group that you don't agree with, chances are, again, your brain is going to say, I don't want to be around these people. I don't want to dress like these people. I don't want to drink like these people. I don't want to go to the same places that these people go to. So it has the opposite effect. And to be honest, sometimes marketers use that as well, that sort of negative reinforcement to get you to make a different type of purchase decision. So, you know what? In the last video that I did, which is more on the behavioral side, I said that, I'm covering the very upper level stuff, right? I love consumer behavior. You can dive deeper, deeper, deeper. You can go into psychology books to really, truly master these theories like cognitive learning theory. So you can go as deep dive as you want. But I am a big believer in knowing just enough to start with that you can start applying these concepts to your everyday marketing efforts. And then, if you're interested, learn more. Now, if you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button, and please do share so that others can also enjoy my videos. If there's a marketing term that you'd like me to cover, please mention it in the comments section below. I'd love to cover those. You can also buy me a coffee for those long nights researching and writing these episodes. Now, in terms of social media, you can catch me on Instagram and Facebook for extra content. Never miss an episode, or please do connect with me on LinkedIn. Now, I will see you weekly with a new video, so please stay tuned, and together, let's solve it like a marketer.